Okay, now that we have set everything up and running, and we want to see how we can actually debug in a program that we have written. So this is a simple program. It's just a loop that goes through and prints the line index and tells which line is even and which line is odd with respect to its index. Very simple program, but we want to walk through it and see how it works. So to debug a program, we have to we have to first tell to the program where it starts the debugging. So if you want the entire program to debug, you have to first go to the first executable line, the first line that something is happening. Integer I, nothing is happening, it's just requesting for an integer. But if it was I set to 0, then that would have been an executable line, a line that something is happening to it. Something is being set, some action is happening. So you got to go to that part and just bring the cursor right to the empty space over here and click on it. That creates a breakpoint. So what happens is that it actually runs the program and stops right at that moment, right at that place, and waits for you to issue a command. So now I'm going to go on debugger. I can go start, or I can simply press F5. Remember, when you did Control F5, there was no debugging, it just runs the program. All right. But when you are doing F5, it actually starts the debugging. So if I click on F5, it's going to ask me to build and debug. So if the program is too big, you don't want it checked. But when you are in IPC, you simply click on this one. It builds it in 2 seconds. So there you go. Now it's actually the execution is stopping right over here, and I'm just going to resize this window. So I'm going to have the output window handy too, and I'm going to make this one a little smaller. I do not want this window. There we go. All right, and I'm going to bring this one in the right side. Now this is the output window and this is the execution. Now I think I should move this a little higher. So now in here, as you see in this area, you actually have several different places that you can look and see what is happening. For us at IPC 144, the two important ones are locals and watches. All right. Now I already added the watch over here. I'm going to remove it. Okay. Local variables, it's going to show it automatically. Whatever variable comes to scope, it's going to show its value. That's what's in it. All right. Now from last debug, I had a 2 in it, so that's why it stands over there. But right at this moment, as soon as it passes through I, if I continue it, so let me just clear this thing. Actually, let it be, it doesn't matter. So what happens is that if I go to debugger and click next, that means it's going to go to the next line. Even if you have a function, it's going to jump over. It's not going to go into the function and walk through that one. So if I just click F10 over here, it's just going to execute this line, which means it's going to test and see if I is less than 5. And then it's going to set it's going to first set I to 5 because it's the very first time it's running. Then it's going to check to see if I is less than 5. Then comes in here, does all these stuff, and then adds 1 to the value of the I. That's how the for loop works, right? So what happens over here is this. If you're interested to see specific values as they are going through, what you can do, you can actually highlight them, right click on them, and say add watch. By doing that, it actually shows what the add watch is. Because I has 2 in it, the 2 that is in I is simply garbage. It happened to be because I didn't set it to anything. And because I equals 0 hasn't happened yet, it's not set to 2. So as soon as I click on F10, and I'm clicking right now, this happens, which means I is set to 0. And now if you actually go to watches and take a look at I less than 5, you'll see it's 1. It's true because 0 is less than 5. Now it's going to come over here. Now it's going to check the value of I mod 2. I can add that one to watch 2. So I have 2 watches. First one shows the condition of the loop, and second one shows what's the outcome of I mod 2. And because it's 0, so the 2 are equal, so the first part of the loop is going to happen. And if I press F10 again, it comes to print. F10 again, it actually prints it, and you see even is printed over here. The rest of the if statement is skipped because the first condition got executed. Now printf is going to happen and goes right back up to for loop again. This will not happen again because we know in for loop the first section only happens once. Now what's going to happen over here, what did happen was that I was added by 1. If I come back to locals, actually it's not happening yet. Right now when I get in, before we get in, it's going to get added. So right at the end or at the beginning, it doesn't make any difference. It's actually the same thing. So when I get in, as soon as I get in, now the value of I is changed to 1. And if I come back to watches, I'll see I is still less than 1. I mod 2 is 1 and 1 is not equal to 0. So as a result, this if statement is going to actually go false, and as a result the second part of the if statement happens, and as you see, arrow is standing in front of it now. And then I'm gonna hit F10 again, and you see odd is printed, and then printf again. So it's gonna say the next one, and it keeps doing that. So again, if I go to locals, I'll see value of I change to 2, and note that any value that changes temporarily, it changes to red, so you'll know exactly what happened. And as soon as I go over here, now it prints even, all right, and become up. And as soon as the value of I changes again, now it's I mod 2 becomes 1, but the result of the I less than 5 is remaining 1, so it's not going to change, and the local variable is changed to 3. And we can keep going like this. And finally, the value of I becomes 5, and because 5 is not less than 5, the condition goes false. It goes to the end of the for loop and returns 0, and the program ends. And that's as simple as it can get. So you can walk through it with this and see exactly how the program is getting executed. Very helpful to actually learn and see how a C code is running when you're executing a program. To stop the debugger, you simply go to debug and you click on stop debugger or shift F5. So I'm going to hit shift F5. Debugging is finished. And now I can simply close the program and get out of the Codelite. That's it.